volcanoes threaten lives half a world apart. In Hawaii, lava creeps towards a town. It is a potential disaster in slow motion.
So people had maybe a 1 or 2 week warning that lava might come through this neighborhood within that time.
In Sumatra, a volcano awakens after a 500-year slumber. Its terrifying eruptions send people fleeing as deadly pyroclastic flows destroy villages. Nature's raw power is our planet's most spectacular show. For people who live on active volcanoes, life has an element of impermanence to it. There is always the fear that one day their home will be in the path of an eruption. For the residents of the town of Pahoa, on the big island of Hawaii, that time is now. The island is built of 5 volcanoes. 3 of them have erupted in historic times, and 1 is currently erupting. Its name is Kilauea. Kilauea is a shield volcano. That means it's built of layers of fluid-flowing lava. Its current eruptive phase started in 1983. Most of the time, lava from Kilauea follows a well-worn path out to the sea, where it builds more land, enlarging the island. But every so often, lava threatens the human population. In 1990, Kilauea wiped out the town of Kalapana. Since then, it has taken down a few houses here and there. But it hasn't threatened any major towns or villages until now. Pahoa is located in the opposite direction of Kilauea's regular flow path. But the unpredictable has happened. A slow-moving lava flow is heading straight for them. The town is holding its breath to see if it will stop, or whether this is a slow-motion disaster in the making.
This is the main road into Pahoa, right behind me. And this low spot is where you think the lava is going to come across the highway within the next few weeks or months.
Philong is a volcanologist and guide on the Big Island. He's seen how lava flows creep up on communities all over the island.
You can see the natural topography is important to direct lava flow in certain directions. You can see when the flow first comes down, it's going to be fairly hot and fluid, and it'll follow the contours of the land into the low spots below.
The lava moves slowly and has a very distinct way of building its own new mass.
It'll first put out a small finger, freeze and form a shell, pressurize the inside, and burst out in small lobes in either direction, slowly filling in the whole area.
The fact that the town of Pahoa is in danger is a surprise to the residents. The lava is coming from Kilauea's active vent called Pu'u'o'o, which is far away. Traditionally, the flows would freeze long before they reached the town. But in this case, the lava has changed course. It has gone underground through some large ground cracks. This means it can travel farther and retain its heat longer. Now the flows have resurfaced, dangerously close to Pahoa. Because it moves so slowly, no one has to make a run for it. It gives the residents time to wait and see what happens. The way the lava flows from here is unpredictable. For the residents of the town, not sure of the direction of the flow or how long it will last. The unpredictability is both the good news and the bad news.
It was a little bit of a surprise that the lava came in this direction so quickly, and it caught people a little bit off guard when it started moving away from the crack down towards this community. So people had maybe a 1 or 2 week warning that lava might come through this neighborhood within that time. Fortunately, since then, the lava has diverted and gone around the homesteads towards Pahoa. The flow is moving at its fastest at about 300 meters per day, and that would put it about 5 days out from this road at that rate. But it's slowed down since then, and so now we don't have a projection of where to go and how fast it'll go.
As the lava slowly makes its way towards town, Pahoa holds a crisis meeting. It's led by the United States Geological Survey, or the USGS. This is the government body tasked with monitoring the volcano. In this crisis, they are working with the communities to keep people informed and safe.
So this is a map you're all familiar with. The lava still has Pahoa in its path. The advance rates of the lava flow continues to vary. And as long as it continues to vary from one day to the next or from 1 week to the next, any of the projections that we try to make are going to be wrong.
With the flows now just days away from town, the meetings have become more frequent.
So much of this is beyond our control, and it's always important, us as leaders, to ask for guidance, to ask for kindness, to ask for blessings.
The lava is now on the outskirts of town and heading directly towards its first building, the city's recycling transfer station. If the lava keeps going, it will cut off a Pa road, and with it the electricity supply to several communities. This will serve as a test for the government. Just beyond, at the main highway, lay the power lines for the main town of Pahoa and for the southern section of the island. These flows may go on for years, so solutions are needed quickly. Hydro poles are converted to taller concrete ones, and they are testing to find out if they can further insulate their bases. With the preparations done, all anyone can do is watch and wait as lava approaches the transfer station. The first fingers of lava reach the fence. The flow moves into the parking lot, but luckily stops just short of the recycling depot. The lava has gone as far as it can. It may seem like a win for the town and a close call, but volcanoes work on cycles. It is likely the flow will resume once it regains pressure from the summit, which could take days or weeks. The cooling lava flows have drastically altered the area around a Pa road, and if the lava continues to advance, Pahoa and the surrounding landscape will be transformed. To understand what that could be like, all the residents need to do is look at the village of Kalapana.
This is the area that's been rebuilt on top of the 1990 lava flow that first came through the area to destroy the village of Kalapana. So you can see up on the far horizon the fume from Pu'o'o crater. That's where the flow started, and it moved down a big hillside through what used to be a town here before the one you see behind me. Created all this black rock. After about 15 years, lava started flowing somewhere farther away, and people got confidence and rebuilt their houses here.
If the lava continues to move through Pahoa, the residents will have to abandon their homes and find another place to live. This is part of the uncertainty of living near an active volcano. It's a force that can't be tamed or reasoned with. And so the people have to be prepared to pick up their lives and move. Because of the almost constant volcanic activity of Kilauea, 90% of the surface area is less than 1,200 years old. And the activity has created some otherworldly landscapes.
These fissure eruptions create really unique landscapes. This is a spatter rampart from this fissure eruption. And you can see the lava shot into the air and drop down while it was still liquid. And you see it landed and started oozing and dripping down, forming these lobes and these needles that you can see coming down. We actually had two different structures here, probably two different trees. And the lava landed on top of them, burned the canopy off, and made a small bridge across one of the branches, perhaps. But you can also see that we have plants growing back already on top of this very porous rock. And these are areas that Hawaiians will often refer to as the centers of creation, but also of destruction. They go hand in hand. These are lava trees. As a fissure erupted on that side of the spatter rampart, it sent a flash flood of lava sweeping through this small valley. And all the trees in the small valley got buried all the way to the top of these tree casts, these stone casts. The trees would have been taller than this, but the top part would have been exposed to the air and burned away.
The living tree was burned up within a coating of lava. What's left creates a biological record of the vegetation in stone.
What we're actually looking at is what we call a trace fossil. It's not a fossil of the actual living being itself, in this case the tree, but actually an imprint of it, showing that it was here at some point in time, even though the original being has left.
Not much is known about this eruption, other than it was brief, possibly only lasting a few days, but producing a high volume of lava.
What happened is that the lava kept flowing beyond here into a crater adjoining us. And that allowed the level of the lava floor to drop everywhere except where it was pinned up by these structures, by these trees.
The lava flows of Pahoa have stalled for a few days, but that's about to change. Back at the summit, the volcano has already begun to repressurize. When that happens, the molten magma rises from deep within the earth and collects in the reservoir underneath the volcano's summit. As the reservoir fills up, the pressure causes the entire volcano to inflate like a balloon. Over the past centuries, these constant cycles have pushed the whole southern half of Kilauea towards the ocean, creating a split right through the volcano called a rift. The rift runs on an east-west axis. Instead of overflowing at the summit, which requires a lot of pressure to push the magma vertically, the fluid lava takes an easier route, pushing through the weaknesses in the rift zone. Over the past 50 years, there have been several active craters along Kilauea's East Rift Zone. Eruptive activity in these craters can last a few days to decades. The current eruption has lasted more than 30 years. That eruptive crater is called Pu'u'o'o.
This area has historically had a lot of eruptions, with lava lakes present many times over the last 100 years. And we actually have seen a return of lava to this area in 2008. Since then, the crater has grown and expanded, continues to release gas every day. And what's interesting is that it's actually sustained enough pressure, despite this opening, to continue pushing lava to Pu'u'o'o crater on a rift zone.
When the pressure builds within the summit, the lava lake rises, producing a strong glow at night. This continues for several days until the cycle begins again. Pu'u'o'o crater is off limits to everyone for several reasons. The ground around the crater is unstable, and the vents release a lot of hot and dangerous gases. To get a good look at it, Phil heads to the Napau campsite that sits directly over the rift zone and across from Pu'u'o'o.
This is the Pau crater. It's the closest place to safe view Pu'u'o. We are, at the moment, with the Kona winds today, we're upwind of the fumes. It's getting dark, and we should be able to see a glow coming from the top of the crater pretty soon. As the clouds and fume blow over the top of it, it'll reflect and hopefully intensify the orangeness of it.
The lava fills up the crater, making what's known as a lava lake. That creates the main glow. The lake feeds an underground system of tubes that carry the molten lava to the flow front. The glowing lava can be seen through the openings in the ground, called skylights. While the crater is active, it is impossible to see how the lava is channeled back under the ground. Phil visits an inactive vent from a previous eruption site called Mana Ulu, which is similar to the Pu'u'o vent.
This is the summit crater of Mauna Ulu lava shield. It goes back down to where the ground was before this eruption began. And what we see inside it are layers, first of the cinders that erupted from the fountain of lava, then layers of lava that poured from the lava shield over top of the cinder cone and formed this whale-back lava shield we're standing on today. You can see how steep the walls are from the collapse and all the rubble at the bottom of the crater.
This is the mouth of an extinct lava tube. Lava tubes are one of the reasons that a shield volcano resembles a large hill rather than a big cone. The tubes are the main arteries of a flow that carries the molten material far from the erupting vent. This is in stark contrast to the stratovolcano, where the lava is more viscous and is often blown out of the vent in violent explosions.
The way a lava tube forms is by the lava itself freezing on the surface, an outer shell, but continuing to be pressurized on the inside and pushing forward. So what happens is over time, the mass of lava moving through this pipeline will carve its way down and make a big opening like you see below me. Once you have that surrounding layer of rock, it acts as an insulator and it holds in much of the heat of the lava flow. We've actually measured from Pu'u'o the temperature of lava between the eruption site and the ocean. It only loses about 5 degrees across that 5 or 9 mile distance.
When a volcano erupts, there are periods when it produces more lava than the lake can hold. The excess spills out, creating an overflow channel.
This is the overflow channel from Mauna Ulu's lava lake. As lava spilled over the crater, it would come rushing down this channel in front of us, physically carving out the rocks below it, but also sloshing over the edges and forming all these thin layers of lava across which we're walking right now.
The Mana Ulu crater is directly over Kilauea's rift zone. Magma is moving under the ground in this area. You can't feel it or directly see it. But as rainwater percolates through the ground, it's heated by the molten magma and comes back out in the form of steam. Extinct lava tubes and other volcanic features have been used by traditional Hawaiian culture over the centuries. They were often used for defensive purposes.
This is a pu'uhonua, a place of refuge, a place that Hawaiians built, adapting a lava tube into a place they could protect themselves and also store their valuables as well as collect water and other uses like that. It's constructed in such a way to have a very narrow entrance so that it could be easily defended by one big Hawaiian warrior with a spear. You can see how narrow this opening is right here. We basically have to crawl through on our hands and knees to get through.
The tube is big enough that the whole village could seek refuge here and wait out an attacking army. They were well stocked ahead of time, not only in war, but also in daily life.
Lava tubes were used for many reasons, including refrigeration, shelter, but also to collect water. Set up a little tripod with rocks, put a gourd on the bottom, and collect the drips from these little hanging lava spills from the ceiling. This is where it opens up to the ocean. When the Hawaiians were using this cave, it was actually all the way closed off. But a big earthquake in 1975 caused a cliff to fall away and create this opening.
When the lava flows cease, gravity causes the tubes to empty. And this one, like many on the island, ends at the ocean.
We would have had a big ocean entry with lots of steam happening right here. Once the flow was over, the tube cooled down many years later. Then the Hawaiians modified it for their shelter.
Back at Pahoa, the city is once again on alert. The repressurization at Kilauea's main crater has taken 5 days to re-energize the lava flows. The flows that had stopped just outside the transfer are once again on the move. And it's not good news from the head of Hawaii's civil defense.
Right now, the flow rate over the last 24-hour period has been approximately 10 yards per hour, so it's pretty consistent. But when you average that out, but throughout the day, we do have periods where it does accelerate and periods where it appears to slow down and even come to almost a stall. But it is active, it is advancing.
The first fingers stretch over a Pa road. The heat of the molten lava is so intense, the tarmac begins to burn. The lava flow has enough energy to keep pushing it forward. This is a shield volcano in action. The slow-moving lava flows inch along. The residents of this house would have had plenty of time to evacuate. But all it takes is the touch of one small finger of lava. If the flows pass over the main town road and keep going, the main highway will be next. If that goes, then Pahoa's 8,000 residents will be cut off from the rest of the island.
So this morning, as I mentioned, the flow is still active, still moving. As far as any questions, timeline before it hits Pahoa Village Road, as we've shared before, it's very difficult to forecast with any certainty, but based on the current distance, we're looking at sometime in the next 24, 36 hours, if it was to hold on the same track, path, and rate of advancement.
The lava creeps along, destroying everything in its path. It is burning its way towards the main road to town. Then, a stroke of luck. The lava flow has run out of steam and stops suddenly about half a block from the main road. But the threat isn't over. The lava flow has broken out in a new direction, further uphill, and is taking a new path towards Pahoa. It's now heading straight for a major shopping plaza on the outskirts of town. At the current rate, this new flow will reach the plaza in 2 weeks. Again, the people of Pahoa can only wait and see what Kilauea will do. How long Kilauea can continue erupting is unknown. Not even the scientists can say for certain.
Well, I mean, if you look at the geologic precedent, this eruption's been going on for 30 years. Over in other portions of the volcano where we've mapped the geologic history, it's not uncommon for Pahoa shield-like building flows to last up to 50 to 60 years. And on Mauna Loa, there was a period where lava flows lasted for 5 centuries.
Half a world away on the Indonesian island of Sumatra, another volcano is threatening the people who live nearby. Unlike Kilauea in Hawaii, Sinabung is a stratovolcano. It has a thick, viscous lava. When Sinabung erupts, the lava collects on the summit and builds what is called the lava dome. Each new eruption of magma adds on to the dome, pushing it outwards and making it prone to collapse. When it does collapse, it sends a rush of superheated volcanic gas and rock downhill in an avalanche called a pyroclastic flow. It burns and destroys everything in its path. Pyroclastic flows are fast and deadly. In 1902, pyroclastic flows from Mount Pelée on the Caribbean island of Martinique killed 30,000 people when a hot ash cloud descended on the town of Saint Pierre. Indonesia has 150 active volcanoes, so the threat is a constant reality. Andy Susanto is an internationally renowned volcano guide. It's arguable that he has more direct experience with Indonesia's active volcanoes than anyone in the world.
The activity of the Sinabung actually is in level 3. So level 3, that means this is in the status alert.
Level 3 is given to a volcano that has the potential to produce a large eruption.
Yeah, now we can see that there is a pyroclastic flow that you can see from here.
Level 4 indicates a volcano that is in a major eruptive phase.
According to the people from the hotels, and also that last night also was one of the biggest pyroclastic flow, and also this morning, like around 5 o'clock.
They head to a point close to the volcano, just outside the main exclusion zone. A volcano that produces this type of eruption requires extra caution.
Now you can see that our position is, I would say we are in the certain safe distance. So now we are in 4.5 kilometers. The first dangerous zone is located in 3 until 4. So any people that who live in the 4 kilometers from the summit is not allowed to live there.
Natural topography defines exclusion zones around volcanoes. Here, a small river-rand gorge provide protection to channel any small to moderate pyroclastic flows that might come off the volcano.
I use this place because of this, considerations that we are still in a safe distance, and then we can see with open view, with explosions or even pyroclastic flow down to the mountains.
Over the past few weeks, a new pulse of magma has been extruding from the vent under the dome. Big blocks of lava have been pushed over the precipice. When the dome gets too big, the pressure and gravity cause small bits and rocks to break off. Suddenly, a section shears off. The rock disintegrates, releasing burning hot gases that have been trapped inside lava. The lava boulders break into small, superheated pieces of rock and ash that billow up from the volcano in an ash column.
So finally, now we just saw the eruptions with ash column. It's almost like about 1.5 kilometers, vertically, and then also spreading out down there. You can see near the valley. The activity of the Sinabung now is currently that's still quite active.
This was small, But as the dome grows over the next few days, the flows will get much bigger. Once considered dormant, Sinabung came back to life in 2010 after a 500-year slumber. A number of small towns in the danger zone have been abandoned. Several months ago, some of the people in the danger zones ignored the warnings with tragic results.
There is like a small village, actually located only about 3 kilometers from the summit. So the name of the village is Bakira, and then the next is Sukameria. That those village that was hit by the pyroclastic flow in 1st February. That 14 people were killed by that pyroclastic flow and eruptions.
Every volcano that poses a risk to populations in Indonesia is monitored by the government's geological agency. Sinabung was dormant for so long that it was not even on their radar. The volcano's mineral-rich, fertile soils attracted farming communities. When it woke up in 2010, evacuations began. 3,000 people were forced to leave their homes. The government tried to relocate as many as possible. The rest ended up at a refugee camp where they have been living for more than 4 years, waiting for new housing that the government has promised to build for them. But they are subsistence farmers, and when the volcano's activity is calm, they brave the extreme danger and go back to their villages to harvest their crops, which they sell at the refugee center market. The situation is part of life in Indonesia. This is Karangetang Volcano in North Sulawesi. Andy visits a nearby village hit by pyroclastic flows, now abandoned.
Now we are in very dangerous area. This volcano has been active long times and then it's always normally remains in level 3.
When pyroclastic flows hit a town, there is no safe place to hide. Along with the debris, there is what is called a pyroclastic surge, which is mostly made up of burning hot gases and ash.
It's quite thick, even in the floors, like almost like 5 centimeters, the thickness of a shirt. So that people is always, have to be standby here. It's quite dangerous. People has been evacuated all, so relocated, and not allowed to live here anymore. It's it's terrible. The situation now is in Karangetang is very active. So this volcano has been very active since May and until today.
Andy knows this situation firsthand. He too lives on a dangerous volcano that is known to produce devastating and deadly pyroclastic flows. Mount Merapi is Indonesia's most active big volcano. It erupts every 2 to 3 years and produces major eruptions every 10 to 12 years. Its last major eruption was in 2010. More than 300 people died, including Andy's close friend and mentor, Emba Pujo.
So this is the house of my, lovely friends, Mbah Pujo and his wife. He is one of the, I would say, my best, friends I have. And then I always, remember this place very, very well. In my imaginations that I still stay in the room. I still, have feeling that I still, talking with him. And then, this is the house for meeting rooms. And then this is, I know, this is for the livestock there. And then behind there, in the back, used for kitchens. And then I like this place because near volcano as my hobby and then as my, profession.
Emba inspired Andy to follow his passion for volcanoes. Emba Pujo was head of the Merapi Mountain Guiding Club, where Andy worked as a guide.
At the times, as usual, we discuss about the Merapi now is getting, more increase, and then the increase can be dangerous. But, he is old man, that I respect. And then maybe he know better than me.
Andy was away at the time of the eruption, but came back to see his friend in the hospital.
So this is the last time I visit him, and then I talked to him. But I knew already that, his wife, already died. I visit him in the hospital, in the ICU, like, something that, is, bad conditions because, he got burned, almost more than 60%, his skin. And then, when I visit him, always ask me, Andy, where is my wife? Where is my wife? And I was crying.
Andy was one of the first responders who risked their own life to help victims in the immediate aftermath. This woman's husband returned to the village to tend to their animals and crops and was caught in the eruption and died. The government has tried to find ways to protect farmers who get caught by a sudden eruption. They built an underground bunker they hoped would provide a safe haven during a pyroclastic flow. Its first trial was during an eruption in 2006. Tragically, the bunker was a failure.
You can see the layer of the bunker is about 5 meters, and with the thick wall, the member of the rescue team tried to evacuate people here. And this doesn't work, because the pyroclastic flow has the temperature about 800 until 1,000 degrees, so we can imagine.
2 people who sought refuge in it died. The intense heat was so great, it turned the bunker into an oven. It now serves as a macabre monument and tourist attraction for people coming to see Merapi.
One guy that, they died in the bathrooms, and one actually here. Maybe they tried to lock the door, but maybe it was late,
There's no way of knowing whether the 2 people held the door open, waiting for other people.
They use even like, excavator. They use anything, people try to help, with many people, a lot of people try to know what happened with the 2 victims.
The bunker is not the only reminder of Merapi's deadly ways. Despite the death tolls from Merapi that stretch into the thousands over the past centuries, people still choose to live here.
They depend, their life from the volcano. So they make money from the sand, from the rock, from the ash, because the ash can give the fertile soil, so anything can grow here.
They go back to their houses despite the warning level for very simple reasons.
It was, in level 3. And then also very quick that, the authority from the Volcanic Survey of Indonesia changed the status, become, level 4 in a week. So they still worry about their livestock, that they have to feed, and also try to check, what they have, their property, that anything like still safe.
In the years since the eruptions, the ruined villages serve as a potent reminder of the dangers of volcanoes.
This is about 13 kilometers from the summit. Local people call this museum, but actually this is like a private house. The name of the family is Yanto. They lost everything because of the pyroclastic flow, But he was actually in the evacuations, in the shelter. And so they collect all the things that left from the last eruptions. Local people here, they like to visit and, to work this museum because they want to study, that they want to see what happened,
The artifacts reflect the haste in which people left, unlike the volcanoes in Hawaii, where people had time to pack their belongings and move. Here, everything was abandoned. Every item is a reminder of what happens when the intense heat from a volcano interacts with man-made objects. It's another reminder that in the face of the elemental forces of nature, we are sometimes simply helpless. A wall clock has captured the moment that changed thousands of lives forever.
The last massive and the biggest eruption of Merapi volcano, this is in Friday already, 5 minutes after midnight, and the 5th November 2010. So this family just want to show to the people, to be aware for the other people, about Merapi and about the dangers of volcano.
A secondary effect of an eruption is a lahar. Heavy rains carry pyroclastic flow debris into streams and rivers. These deadly mud flows can reach much further than the initial eruption. In the town of Armero, Colombia, 23,000 people were killed when a lahar from the Nevado del Ruiz volcano buried their town. In 2010 at Merapi, a massive volume of pyroclastic debris was washed downstream. It jammed the bridge that spans Yogyakarta's main highway and caused the river to divert through the center of town. Years later, the town is still digging out, and some of its residents are still haunted by that fateful night. Many stayed at home despite a warning from the government to evacuate. That decision nearly cost some people their lives. Bapak Warto was one of them.
He was living here during the Lahar flow, was buried like this, almost, get it up in the neck like this.
As he stood in the rising waters, the ash settled around his lower half, trapping him. Through the night, as the water level rose, he struggled to keep his head above water. With no immediate chance of rescue, he thought he was going to die. The river carried boulders as big as cars that crashed into houses, tearing them apart. One crashed into Warto's house. It was a lucky break. The water was diverted away from him, ultimately saving his life. Others were not so lucky. Most of the residents chose to relocate, but some, like Bapak Warto, chose to rebuild.
Here, so actually now when we see this, actually this is his house. This is the floor, like a living room, that normally he with his family are living together, watching television. So this is was, buried by the thick of the Lahar flow and then Lahar deposit. And now he has already moved here. This is actually the new buildings that we built from after the Lahar flow. And this is something that left, from after destruction from Lahar flow of Merapi volcano.
In the end, the lesson learned here is that the only safe answer is to move people away from the volcano's path. It will be years before the former residents from Sinabung's danger zone can even consider rebuilding. Most have accepted the government's plan to relocate them. Their homes will be in one of several towns built by the military. The first families have already started to move in. Here, they will be safe from the volcano. For those who live just outside the restricted zone, Sinabung's eruptions are now the new normal. They're rebuilding their lives as best they can, living in houses far enough away to be safe at night. But during the day, they're still tied to the danger zones around the volcano where they continue to grow their crops. What the future holds for the volcano is uncertain. Little is known about its eruptive history and whether this volcano is capable of a much larger eruption. For now, it remains very active. Back in Hawaii, the residents of Pahoa are once again waiting to see if they'll be forced out of their community. The new lava flows are within a city block of the shopping center. But just as before, they get a lucky break. The flow once again burns itself out. A few weeks later, this flow no longer seems to be a threat. The lava has changed direction and is now affecting an unpopulated area. However, the community that once felt it was safe from Kilauea is now living a different reality. They know that without warning, the next pulse from Kilauea could send the lava farther and destroy their town. In our era, human beings have bent the natural world to our will, cutting down forests, mowing down grasslands, and paving over natural spaces to create a world that suits our needs. But the volcanoes are an exception. They are a force of nature that we cannot tame.